Alright, guys. So, I am walking out to her. Yep, I got it. This is the 2017 Yamaha FZ09. Obviously, quite a bit of a different situation going on. I have done nothing more than park this bike, do my fender eliminator kit, and yeah, that's it. The bike ran for maybe 10 minutes to warm up yesterday, and that's all I've done. So, you guys are about to be seeing odometer, 1 mile. You guys are about to be seeing the very first ride. So, it looks like I am in mode B. Let's try my traction control to 2. That's definitely different. And she started. It'd be kind of bad if it didn't, but... So, sounds like a sewing machine. But I have to admit, it's kind of nice not having a really aggressive sounding exhaust. And... being able to hear myself think. It's kind of a new thing for me. So... I'm going to scrub in these tires, and I'm totally okay with being in mode B. You guys can call me whatever you want, but I'll tell you one thing. I do not trust... Well, let me rephrase. I trust them just fine. I do not like battle axes at all. By far my least favorite tire. Like, easily my least favorite tire. You guys are witnessing my very first... Well, first time this bike has been under my power. So immediately I'm noticing this feels like... sorry, a gigantic ROM. In a good way. It leans really easy. It's very fast on power delivery. This is a drastically different feeling than being on an R1, that's for sure. The bike feels very flickable, yet at the same time extremely stable. Power comes on hard. Wow. I'm not supposed to be going above 6,000 RPM while I'm still breaking it in, but well, that's what extended warranties are for, right? So one thing is I do not have turn signals, so don't tell anyone. Stock turn signals are absolutely hideous. They came off really quick, and I ordered aftermarket turn signals last night, as well as Akrapovich, or however you want to pronounce it. People tell you you're wrong one way or another, so but anyways, got a new pipe, full titanium acro pipe, or exhaust system I should say. So I have to keep telling myself and reminding myself, hey Sean, you don't have turn signals. People don't know what you're doing, other than assuming, wow. Okay, well, that person apparently doesn't have turn signals either, so. power delivery hits hard. Even in B mode, yeah, I'm still in B. That's pretty impressive. This is the first 3-cylinder I've ever rode. Everything else has either been a V4 or an inline 4 or a flat 4. I will say I'm excited for my quick shifter to arrive, and on that note, it's kind of weird that in the United States we didn't get them, as far as I know, as a factory option. It's something that you had to order aftermarket, whereas the European and Japanese versions of these all had quick shifters and immobilizers from the factory. So kind of an interesting bit of factoid for you. So ideally I wouldn't be just driving around the neighborhood, but like I said, I really want to get these tires scrubbed in. It's cold out today. I'm definitely far from warm. Let's see if this... No, that was a big B. Did it get you guys? Pay attention to what I'm doing really quick. Okay. Trip 1, trip 2. Currently getting 56.1 miles to the gallon. That'll change quickly. How the hell do I get away from that? 145, 64 degrees outside. That's cool. I didn't know that it was going to tell me that or not. Back to odometer. So this is a very upright. I almost feel like I am being proper, if that makes any sense at all. It feels like a very hoity-toity, like, oh, I'm on a motorcycle, hello sir, kind of seating position. That's what it reminds me of. Again, not in a bad way. It's very reminiscent of a Moto, just with a lot more power and a sportier feel. And for what it's worth, I know that this doesn't actually scrub in tires. If anything, it puts you at more risk of eating shit, but I'm actually kind of trying to feel out the rear suspension. It's more of a horizontal than vertical design, so that's new for me as well. I shouldn't say that. My Raptor 700 has very similar suspension dynamics, but that doesn't really count. One thing that I'm noticing immediately is I'm gonna need stomp grip. I hate having my knees sliding around on my tank. I like, you know, it's good riding practice to be supporting the bike with your legs and not your arms so much. So, you know, as opposed to almost standing up and putting all of my weight on my feet, I like really gripping the crap out of the tank with my knees. And that's just kind of how I'm comfortable riding. So right now it doesn't feel like I'm gripping any more than like a, well, it kind of feels like my YZ450F tank, but it's metal and it's slippery, so that's got to change. So these bars, I'm excited for my Carmichael bars. That was one of the first things that I ordered. Actually, I ordered it at the same time that I ordered my quick shifter from the factory. Ordered them at Noble Rush, and they should be here soon. Not that I have anything to complain about with these bars that are currently on here. They serve their purpose. It's just they could look cooler. If I'm being honest, they could look cooler. I'll try that again in English. They could look cooler. Alright, So I've got 4 miles on these tires. They must be broken in, right? No, they're not. Not at all. One thing that will be nice, I gotta say, is rocking a 190 in the rear is going to be vastly different as opposed to the 200 in the rear on my R1. You know, I'm usually not one to care about chicken strips or whatever you guys want to call them in whatever country you're in, but it's really hard getting chicken strips off of a 200. And let me tell you why I do care. If I even actually care at all. Let's say that I had to make an emergency turn and I needed to use that portion of the tire and like an extreme amount of lean. If that tire wasn't scrubbed in and I had to use it in an emergency situation, I would be touching that tire for the first time, and that's kind of less than ideal. So unless you're on a track, it's kind of difficult, street and, well, at least where I'm at, street and canyon-ish riding, to be able to actually get the 200 scrubbed in. For me, at least. Some of the riders out here are better than I am, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. But you know, I ride to my limits, and I don't really spend too much time dwelling on what other people are doing, because ultimately my goal is to be safe and get back home to my wife. You know, can't have sex if you're dead. Or shoot guns, or you know, if you wreck your bike, goodbye bike. I like this bike, so I'm gonna do my best to keep both wheels on the ground. Well, at least the rear wheel. Alright, so Mount Rainier is hidden by the gloom that I'm riding through. Unfortunately, you guys can't really see it. I can't even see it either, actually. And it definitely feels more brisk. Well, hi, you're just right on my ass, aren't you? Say hello to YouTube. Yeah, bike leans really well. I may actually... We'll see how I feel in hardline acceleration, but I may have to recant my statement on how I'm feeling about the grip on the battle axes. These are the RS10s, I believe, which my R1 came with. RS10? I don't know, I'll annotate the right tire name here. Whatever came on my R1, they were horrible as well. My Aprilia and my 1098 both had them. And I couldn't get used to them. I couldn't get to a point where I actually felt comfortable with that tire. So, big difference. Boy, it is chilly. So even in 5th gear, you know, just torque, ready to go. I'm liking it. I really wish that minivan would get off my ass. Maybe I need a louder pipe. Just kidding, I ordered one. Alright, so I'm not sure if this does have a slipper clutch in it or not, but I can't really feel the clutch engaging or sandwiching together like I can on my R1 as I roll into the throttle. The slipper on the R1 is incredible. I don't think it carried over to this. But it is a really comfy clutch, really easy engagement, smooth engagement as well. Rolling off of the line engagement feels very positive, but not super abrupt or jerky. And just letting the clutch go on downshifts, even without blipping, feels perfectly smooth. So, I'm digging it. Let's see. Should I take the twisty back roads? Maybe not. It's really tempting. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm just gonna be really, really slow. Damn it. Should have known. So, while I'm stuck at this light, these are going to be replaced with flush mounts. Yeah, I just didn't like, I mean, they stuck out to here. They were gigantic, and frankly, they were just fucking hideous. So, oops, my bad. I found a rock. Yeah, they weren't working for me visually. No, don't turn red, don't turn red, don't turn red. Ha! I really don't want to be stuck behind a Honda Accord this entire trip, but you know what, guys? As much as I love you, I'm gonna be taking it easy. New bike, new tires. There's no chance in hell that they're even close to warm, and on top of that, they have not been broken in at all. Again, I'm sitting at a whopping 8 miles. Interesting. So going around that portion of that corner on my R1 feels pretty sketchy. The fly-by-wire technology on the R1 is incredible when you're actually giving it a lot of throttle, but when you're trying to modulate the throttle and be gentle like I'm doing right now, just this on the R1 is so over-exaggerated that it's almost impossible to keep yourself from going bop, 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 bop. And just the finest amount of wrist movement on the R1 has a very, for lack of better words, pulsating feeling, where if you're in like third gear at, well, let's say this situation right here, if you're closed on the throttle, the idle will pulse the bike enough that it makes it sound like you're just going bop, 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 bop. Or if you're trying to roll into the throttle, it's super jerky until you're actually giving it a lot of throttle. That's both B and C mode. I don't know if there's a D. A mode is considerably worse. So yeah, guys, first impressions is this is definitely I'm gonna say a winner. It's got the power that I would have wanted from a, I don't know, what do you call this, a sport cruiser, sport touring, or hyper naked, I guess I think is actually the real term. For a hyper naked bike, this is definitely a win. Lots of power, though in contrast of the R1, I should probably stop comparing the two, because that's like comparing 556 to 50 BMG. Definitely controllable amounts of power, but more than enough to scare yourself. I'm definitely not better than this bike. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination scared of it, or timid on it. I actually really wasn't sure what to expect, but yeah, as far as everything goes, it's just enough power, and it's more than comfortable enough. I could do this all day long. Minus the stomp grip thing. Again, I'm gonna hit on that, because you know, it's a very vertical seating position, but on top of that you got the whole gigantic, I don't even know how many gallon tank in front of you. If I was in full leather, and again, if it was at least moderately warm out, I would just pass all these people. But I'm being the nice guy, and I'm also wearing gear where I'm pretty recognizable. On the R1, not a lot of people know that I have it. People see the bike a lot, but not many people know who rides it, which I really like. That was kind of by design. I'm never not wearing a face shield. I'm sorry, I'm never not wearing a dark or tinted face shield, and it's pretty rare that I'm wearing this helmet. Actually, it's never happened before, because I just bought this for moto vlogging, as these are touted to be the quietest helmets out there, or one of the most quietest. But if I'm being honest, it's not much quieter than my AGV Pista, which is apparently just a track-only helmet, and if you wear it on the street, you're an idiot. But none of that's true, in my findings at least. It's very comfortable, very light, and I would say just as quiet as this, if I'm being honest. So, but anyways, usually I'm wearing that helmet on the R1, and I'm wearing a full two-piece, you know, Alpine Stars Atom tracksuit, and I can definitely say that when I'm riding with the appropriate amount of gear, because I am by far pushing the limits of a street. I'm definitely kind of tipping towards the realm of suicidal, which it's really hard not to be on an R1 when you have that much power and that much fun just at the flick of your wrist. It's really hard to, you know, behave, if you will. So I've almost completed my loop, and I put 11 miles on this bike, or 10 I guess, though in hindsight I think it had 0.3 miles when I got it, and just the amount of rolling it around that I've done was probably what racked it up to that actual mile. Shit, there's gonna be a lot of cops around here, and I don't want to be the guy that's not signaling, so I'm just gonna wow, yeah, power definitely hits. Whew. I'll be honest in saying that I almost missed third gear, because as I went to reach for the shifter, I was like, oh yeah, no quick shifter. Gotta use that stupid clutch. I know, tough life. So, pulling into the shop now, though, I'm gonna take a second and kind of check myself out. Hey, hi handsome. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how quiet this bike is. Let's see if I can avoid hitting Chantel's car. Yeah, this is a great looking bike, man. I'm really enjoying this. Alright, so I'm gonna hop inside and I'll see you guys in a few. Have fun. Never. Huh. Look at that. That's just from me being safe. Alright, we are recording. I'm not just talking to myself for an hour. Always good to check those things. Make sure I'm not about to get hit by anyone at Scott's. And I'm good. Good guys, if you guys are in my area at all, Scott's Classic Quality, they do really good work. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually an ASE certified mechanic as well. And it's rare that I ever vouch for other mechanics or shops unless they're very, very deserving. So there you go, that's a good one if you ever need really good work done at a great price. I would actually say even deceptively low price. CBR R6 Gixxer? I'm not sure what that was. I don't... Huh, sounds good. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it sounded great. Super Moto jump. Did it look cool? I don't think I even left the ground. Ah, man, that's fun. See, this is the kind of shit that I wouldn't be able to do, or, I mean, I could, but I wouldn't do on my R1. This is exactly what I was looking for, I guess. Yeah, the FZ09, in my opinion, is definitely a winner. And to that fact as well, I feel totally perfectly safe. Just rocking, I mean, I have CE armor inserts, but just my textile, some 511 strike pants and Air Force Ones, your typical douchey bro setup. Whereas on my R1, or even the R6, if I'm being honest, I feel completely irresponsible just wearing anything other than my two-piece. It's very rare that I'm commuting through a city, so that's one aspect of why. But to that respect, I'm rarely ever doing under 100 miles an hour. So just being a member of society and kind of blending in with traffic and being, you know, someone who's just commuting, this bike definitely serves that purpose very, very well. I'm not quite used to the whole concept of not being able to hear my bike. So free revving in first as I'm taking off is probably gonna happen more times than not. Tis the time for school buses. Let's see if I can switch modes when I'm going. Oh, so we have an A, a B, and a standard. Oh shit, okay. Huh, so I found all 900 cc's, or 898 or whatever it is. It was heading away in A mode. It's not by any means a rocket ship, but at the same time, man, it's got some pull. If I was to throttle anymore right then, it would have lifted the front up for sure. Yep. So I will say, yeah, A mode is definitely a lot sportier, and still the throttle is very controllable and smooth. That delivery into power is very predictable. So that's pretty cool. Probably a bad time to be wondering, but I wonder where my tire pressure is. Whoops. Oh my god, go be a Hyundai somewhere else. Nobody likes you. Yeah. So I would say that live ended up by about 25-30%. It doesn't feel any more powerful, it's just the throttle delivery is more right there on the lower end. Whereas in B mode it felt a little more linear. This definitely has a lot more presence to it. A little more meat. Front brake is a little squishy. I can see that being an upgrade that's going to happen sometime in the near future. Doesn't really have that I don't know, that I guess I'm kind of spoiled. I am again comparing things to the R1, where actually I think if anything the front brake, or the brakes in general, because the R1's front and rear brake are actually linked together. So maybe that's why the front feels spongier to me, but man, that power delivery is incredible. You know, this isn't really touted as a super crazy sports bike, but I would say it's pretty close to being on par with the R6. Definitely a lot more lower end torque, obviously. Where the R6, you know, the tach goes all the way to, I think it's 18,000 RPM. And the R1 goes to 12.5. This is definitely no slouch in pulling you around. It feels very strong, very, very substantial. Yeah, even rolling into 5th gear hard, you can feel it. Make a couple more loops and call this a video. Yeah, man, that power delivery on A is, slow down a little bit. Alright, so we're in 2nd. Just rolling in. Yeah. Feels good. Feels really good. Very responsive. I wonder if I can switch on the fly. Holy shit, I can. So that's another thing I will give this bike, is on the R1 you have to change modes once you're stopped or going under, I think it's 5 miles an hour. You don't really have the luxury of being able to I mean, I think you can change from standard to race dash display, but I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm a fan. So guys, if you were wondering to yourself whether or not an FZ09 would be a good addition to your family, I wouldn't put your wife on it, though. I don't know. I'll take that back, actually. I wouldn't put a kid on it. However, predictable, smooth, easy to flick into a corner. Yeah, I can definitely feel that I just touched the actual edge of my tire. And I know a lot of people had a problem with the original suspension on this bike. I can definitely see where they fixed everything that could have been wrong. I don't feel like I'm wondering what the front end is doing. I don't feel like I'm wondering where the rear end's at. I can definitely feel all of my inputs are definitely translated to the bike very well, and the feedback I can get from the road is pretty substantial. So again, I'm redacting what I said about these battle axes. You know, maybe for this kind of bike they're perfect, because I can definitely feel all of everything that I'm doing, and yeah, it's very responsive, and it gives you really good feedback. Fucker. I love all cops. I do not consider state patrol in the same family. Sorry. I love law enforcement. I am actually a fan. I work with a lot of great guys who are in law enforcement, and that guy's a douchebag. He can go fucking kill himself for all I care. But Washington State Patrol, not too much of a fan. If your job is to drive around handing out speeding tickets, yeah, you're not my friend, because I'm always speeding, so obviously I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to be their fanboy. Sorry. Great feeling bike. Alright, that's going to wrap up my initial first impressions of this bike, but I will be coming back with an upgrades vid, and I'll see you guys in the next one.